The screen glows in the dim light. Your thumb scrolls through the entries. Every cup of coffee, every bus ticket, every small transaction perfectly logged for the month. You feel a steady rhythm of control. It is a clean, precise record of where every cent has gone. You switch apps. The banking interface loads, a stark white screen that demands your full attention. You look at the balance. Then you look at the tracking app. You look back at the bank. The numbers do not align. $200 are missing. You refresh the page, waiting for the server to catch up, but the figure remains stubborn and wrong. Your pulse quickens. You scan the list of transactions again, hunting for the error, checking for a typo or a forgotten withdrawal. The math is simple, but the result is impossible. The pride you felt seconds ago evaporates, replaced by a cold, sharp sensation in your chest. You stand in the silence, staring at the screen, unable to reconcile the reality of your account with the precision of your notes. Something is broken in the system. You begin to panic. Fingers tap the calculator app, punching in the same numbers for the third time. The sum remains the same, and the deficit keeps staring back at you. You start to question the basic logic of your own mind. Is the error in the app, or is it in the way your brain processes these figures? You have spent hours meticulously logging every detail, yet the result is a failure. A dark thought takes root. Maybe you are just not a numbers person. You have read the books and watched the tutorials, but as you stare at the screen, you feel the weight of every unsuccessful attempt at financial organization. It feels personal. You wonder if you are incapable of managing even the simplest account. You close the app and throw the phone onto the couch. The silence of the room feels judgmental. You pace back and forth, replaying the last few weeks, trying to find where your focus slipped. You blame your own lack of aptitude. You feel the sting of shame, convinced that no matter how hard you track, the reality of your finances will always escape your grasp. You are stuck in a loop of self-reproach. Stop. Breathe. Look at the screen again, not as a reflection of your intelligence, but as a piece of software. You are searching for a flaw in your own logic, but the error is written into the code itself. Your tracking app is stateless. It exists in the present, but it has no capacity for the past. It is like a browser tab that wipes its memory the moment you close it. Every time you log an entry, the app treats it as a singular, isolated event, disconnected from the history that came before. It does not learn. It does not reconcile. It simply resets. You have been treating this tool as a financial brain, but it is nothing more than a digital notepad that forgets what you wrote yesterday. The missing money, the misalignment of your accounts, this is not a symptom of your lack of aptitude. It is the inevitable result of a system that cannot hold a state. You feel the tension in your shoulders begin to dissipate as the truth settles in. You are not a failure. You have simply been using a tool that is fundamentally incapable of doing the job you asked of it. The problem is not the person. It is the infrastructure. Today, we dismantle this cycle of financial amnesia. You do not need more willpower or a better calculator. You need a memory layer. Think of your current financial life as a conversation that gets deleted the moment you stop speaking. You need a system that preserves the context of your decisions, holding your past actions as a foundation for your future moves. By building a memory layer, you stop treating every transaction as a fresh, isolated crisis. Instead, your financial data begins to accumulate, forming a persistent record that your system can reference and learn from. This is the shift from a passive ledger to an active, evolving brain. Imagine a system that remembers your goals, reconciles your errors, and understands the history of your cash flow even when you are not looking at the screen. You are no longer fighting the software to see the truth of your accounts. You are architecting a structure that keeps the truth visible, accessible, and ready to guide you. This layer sits beneath your daily activity, acting as the permanent bridge between where you started and where you intend to arrive. It is time to stop letting your history evaporate. To understand why your current approach fails, you must see the difference between a library and a diary. You treat your financial knowledge like a library, a vast collection of books on asset allocation and market theory that sits on a shelf, static and untouched. You read the pages, you absorb the concepts, and you feel informed. But the moment the market dips, your behavior shifts. You stop acting like a researcher and start writing in a diary of fear. You panic sell. You abandon the strategies you spent hours studying because your knowledge is disconnected from your actions. You treat every piece of financial advice as a one-off search query, a temporary fix for an immediate anxiety. This is the dangerous gap. A library is passive, and a diary is reactive, but neither serves as a foundation for wealth. You consume information, yet you remain governed by impulse. You read about long-term growth, yet you execute short-term exits. This disconnect is where your money vanishes. You are not lacking information. You are lacking a mechanism that forces your knowledge to govern your hands. You need to stop being a reader of theory and start being an architect of a system that prevents your panic from overriding your logic. To bridge the gap between theory and execution, you must stop treating your finances as a series of disconnected search queries. Every time you ask a question and find an answer, you are merely patching a leak, not building a structure. It is time to stop searching for temporary fixes and start building a permanent financial brain. This is not about collecting more data points or reading another chapter on market theory. It is about creating an enduring framework that holds your logic in place. Think of this brain as the central processor for your economic life. It does not forget, it does not panic, and it does not allow your emotions to override your core strategy. By constructing this layer, you move from being a user of tools to an architect of wealth. You are creating a persistent state that exists even when you are not actively logging in. This brain will anchor your decisions, weighing every impulse against your predefined goals. It is a transition from the fleeting nature of a browser tab to the durability of a foundation. You are no longer just managing numbers. You are designing a system that works while you sleep. The era of searching for answers ends here. The era of knowing your next move begins with the architecture you build today. Now, the architecture needs fuel. A financial brain without data is just a hollow shell. To make this system function, you must extract your core facts and feed them into the core. You are not a generic investor. You are a professional with a specific career path and a unique set of constraints. Let us take your identity as a semiconductor engineer. This is not just a job title. It is the fundamental data point that dictates your risk profile and your cash flow. When you feed this reality into your system, you stop guessing. You provide the machine with the context it needs to filter out the noise that distracts others. If your daily life revolves around the precision of silicon wafers, your portfolio should reflect that same level of structural discipline. You start by defining who you are in the eyes of the market. You input your professional constraints, your time horizons, and your industry-specific reality. This is the moment your financial life stops being a collection of generic tips and starts becoming a precision instrument tailored to your actual existence. You are no longer a stranger to your own money. You are the engineer of your own wealth, defining the parameters that the system will use to protect your future. Dig into your professional facts. Extract the variables that define your career and anchor them firmly into the foundation of your new financial brain. With your professional identity anchored, you must now define the strict parameters that govern your wealth. Every system requires constraints to function, and your financial brain is no different. Start by feeding your tax bracket into the core. You are currently operating under a 20% tax obligation. This is a fixed variable, a reality that dictates your net yield regardless of market performance. If you ignore this, you are building on sand. By inputting this 20% mandate, the system automatically accounts for the leakage in your gains. It forces a more disciplined approach to asset selection. You are no longer looking at gross returns. You are optimizing for the post-tax reality that actually lands in your account. This is how you secure your perimeter. The math becomes your primary defense. You are creating a boundary that prevents bad decisions from eroding your capital. When the system knows your exact tax burden, it can distinguish between high-yield traps and genuine growth. It turns a static tax rate into a dynamic filter. You are not just tracking money. You are engineering a high-performance environment where every percentage point is accounted for, measured, and protected. This is the difference between hoping for profit and architecting a result. Feed the tax constraints in. Let the system calculate the path of least resistance to your net growth. Now that the constraints are locked, you must define the destination. A system without a target is just a loop, spinning in place. You need a North Star to guide the logic of your wealth. Set your goal. 70,000 NTD in monthly dividends. This is not a vague hope or a loose estimation. It is a precise, non-negotiable benchmark that you feed directly into your financial brain. The moment you input this figure, the nature of your system changes. It stops being a passive tracker and starts being a goal-oriented engine. Every asset you hold is now measured against this specific requirement. Does this stock contribute to the 70,000? If the answer is no, the system flags it as noise. This is how you sharpen your ambition. You are no longer drifting through market cycles, hoping for a lucky break. You are building a machine calibrated to hit a specific output every 30 days. This target acts as a filter, clearing the fog of uncertainty that keeps most investors stagnant. You define the amount, you lock it into the logic, and you watch as your focus intensifies. Your financial brain now has a mission. It is hunting for the yield required to hit that 70,000 mark, and it will not stop until the math aligns with your objective. With the 70,000 NTD target locked into your system, the background radiation of the market begins to dissipate. You know the feeling. The late-night scrolling through crypto forums, the sudden impulse to chase a trending token based on a single headline, the constant, low-level anxiety that you are missing out on the next big wave. That is not investing. That is noise. Your new memory layer acts as a high-frequency filter. It does not care about viral trends or the frantic speculation that dominates your social media feeds. When a volatile crypto asset flashes on your screen, the system immediately cross-references it against your dividend goal. It finds no correlation. It registers no yield. It flags the distraction and discards it. You watch as the chaotic stream of market hype loses its gravity. The constant urge to refresh your tracking app to see if you are missing a surge vanishes. You are no longer reacting to the frantic pace of the market. You are observing it through a lens of total clarity. The mental energy you once wasted on noise is reclaimed. Your attention is no longer fragmented across a dozen speculative gambles. The fog lifts, leaving behind a focused, quiet space where you only engage with what serves your specific mission. You are finally silent, centered, and ready to execute. With the noise silenced, the space remains for something substantial. You are not looking for a miracle. You are looking for an architecture. If you are a semiconductor engineer, you understand that stability is a product of design, not chance. Your system pivots from filtering out the junk to locking onto the pillars of growth. It points you toward assets like 2,330 and 00850. These are not speculative tickets. They are the bedrock of your dividend engine. Think of your portfolio like a high-performance chip package. You need components that can withstand heat and pressure while delivering consistent, high-speed results. The system runs the numbers, mapping these stocks against your 70,000 NTD target. The correlation is no longer a guess. It is a mathematical certainty. You see the logic in the growth trajectory. You see the alignment between the underlying business performance and your own income needs. The uncertainty that once kept you awake at night is replaced by a cold, evidence-based strategy. You stop chasing the phantom promise of quick wealth and start investing in the machinery of long-term output. Every dollar you deploy now has a specific job. It is not sitting idle. It is not gambled away. It is integrated into a system designed to scale, stabilize, and eventually replace your labor with passive yield. But here is the trap. You built a plan, you picked your stocks, and you think the work is done. You treat your investment strategy like a library, a collection of static books on a shelf that never change. You read the theory, you set the allocation, and you walk away. But the market is not a library. It is a living, breathing, violent current. While you sit back, satisfied with your initial setup, the variables shift. A dividend yield drops. A market sector cools. A tax law changes. Your library is now a graveyard of outdated data. You are holding assets that no longer serve your mission, yet your system remains blind to the decay. The pressure builds in your gut because you can feel the disconnect. You are playing a game of chess while the board is moving beneath your feet. A static plan in a dynamic market is not stability. It is a slow-motion failure. You realize that if your financial brain cannot adapt in real time, it is effectively dead. The need for a living, breathing memory layer is no longer a luxury, it is a survival mechanism. You feel the weight of every stale number, every unoptimized asset, and every missed signal. The system must evolve, or it will break under the pressure of its own inertia. The static model is dead. It is time to inject live state into your portfolio. You are no longer waiting for quarterly reports to tell you what you already know. You need a system that updates its configuration the moment your goals shift. Look at your dividend target, 70,000 NTD. If the current landscape demands a new tactical entry, your system must execute. You decide that 0056 now fits your dividend mandate. You do not think about it for weeks. You do not consult a dozen different sources. You feed the parameter into your memory layer. The system triggers. It scans the current allocation, recalculates the yield trajectory, and flags the adjustment. You watch the numbers shift on your screen. The logic is immediate. The validation is instantaneous. This is not just trading, it is system management. You are re-engineering the internal components of your wealth to ensure the output remains constant even as the market conditions evolve. The urgency is clear. Every second your portfolio remains unoptimized, you are losing efficiency. You lock in the 0056 configuration and the system confirms the integration. Your financial brain has just evolved. It is now tracking the new variable, filtering the incoming data, and maintaining your target with clinical, machine-like precision. You are in control of the state, and the state is finally aligned with your reality. Now, the cleanup. A system is only as efficient as its leanest component. Look at your holdings. There is clutter hiding in plain sight. Asset 00929 has been draining your focus, offering diminishing returns that no longer align with your aggressive dividend target. You feel the pull of hesitation, the urge to keep it just because it was part of the original strategy. Cut that cord. You hover over the delete command. This is not just a trade. It is a reclamation of your mental space. You click. The entry vanishes. The chart lines shift, flattening the noise and sharpening the view toward your core growth stocks. The weight in your chest lightens. That digital space is finally empty, and in that emptiness, you feel a sudden, sharp surge of power. You are no longer a passive observer of your own money. You are the architect of its efficiency. Every dollar tied to 00929 is now free to be reallocated toward your high-performance targets. The system is clean. The context is clear. You have purged the debris that clouded your decision-making. Your financial brain is no longer distracted by past mistakes. You feel the transition from managing clutter to managing growth. The path forward is finally visible, stripped of all that does not serve your ultimate mandate. You have cleared the noise, but a system without a manager is just a collection of parts. You need an operator that never sleeps. You open the command interface to build your wealth system prompt. You are not just writing a note. You are defining the operating parameters of your financial life. You type the mandate. You are the manager of an income system. Your duty is to protect the yield and enforce the growth strategy. You define the constraints, the tax bracket, the monthly dividend target, the priority for growth stocks. You hit enter. The system processes the input, blinking as it ingests your logic. For the first time, the AI is no longer a tool you query. It is a manager you have empowered. It acknowledges the protocol. You feel the shift in the air. The responsibility of constant vigilance has been offloaded. You are no longer the one staring at the screen for hours, checking for red flags or missed opportunities. You have installed a permanent, tireless logic layer to handle the volatility. The system prompt is active. Your financial identity is now code. You sit back, watching the terminal confirm the initialization of your new automated reality. The management has been delegated, and for the first time, you are free to focus on the architecture of your success. The system does not wait for a prompt. It initiates the first cycle. A notification pulse hits your screen, vibrating with the rhythm of raw efficiency. The AI is already deep inside your portfolio, parsing the last 30 days of transactions. It flags your dollar cost averaging progress for 2,330 and 00850. You watch the data refresh in real time. A microturn occurs. The system detects a 3-day delay in your last purchase of 2,330. It does not ask for an explanation. It calculates the deviation and auto-adjusts your next buy order to compensate for the drift. The numbers align instantly. There is no manual searching, no scrolling through spreadsheets, no second-guessing the buy-in price. The AI validates every deduction against your growth constraints with machine-like precision. You see the progress bars for your core holdings climb, updated to the second. It is a seamless, high-velocity loop of verification. The anxiety of missing a trade is replaced by the cold, hard certainty of a system that never sleeps. You see, the 00850 allocation hit its target percentage, confirmed by a green check mark that glows with mathematical finality. You are no longer checking your bank balance. You are observing a perfectly calibrated engine of growth. The mastery is absolute, and the speed is relentless. The engine has verified your trades, but your true armor is the cash reserve. The system pivots from the volatility of stocks to the deep, silent weight of your 7 million NTD liquidity pool. You watch the interface lock onto this number, tracking it with absolute, unyielding precision. A microturn occurs. A sudden market dip ripples through the data feed, threatening to disrupt your allocations. The system reacts instantly. It does not panic, it does not sell. Instead, it runs a real-time stress test, calculating exactly how the 7 million NTD reserve mitigates the exposure. The numbers on your screen do not flicker or fade. They hold. The reserve acts as a massive, immovable anchor, absorbing the shock of the market before it ever reaches your core holdings. Every dollar of that 7 million is accounted for, verified, and ready to deploy at the precise moment of maximum opportunity. You feel the tension leave your shoulders. The liquidity is no longer a vague figure in a bank account. It is a calculated, defensive asset managed by a machine that never sleeps. The system reports a status of absolute stability. Your foundation is solid, your cash is waiting, and the anxiety that once defined your relationship with liquidity has been systematically erased. You are no longer guessing if you have enough. You know, the bridge is built. You stop reading about wealth and start commanding it. The system signals a prime entry point for 2,330. In the past, you would have hesitated, refreshed your browser, and missed the window. Today, the system acts. You authorize the trade with a single tap, and the execution is instantaneous. The market responds. You watch the transaction clear, the confirmation pinging against your screen like a heartbeat. This is the moment the theory becomes reality. The microturn arrives. The system identifies a secondary opportunity in 00850, immediately pivoting capital to capture the spread. You are not searching for answers anymore. You are architecting results. The realization hits with the force of a physical impact. Your wealth is no longer a collection of browser tabs and lost receipts. It is a live, breathing machine under your direct control. The numbers do not just match, they expand. You see the dividend yield climb, the growth stocks align, and the entire structure pulse with synchronized efficiency. You have moved from a librarian of static knowledge to a developer of active wealth. The hesitation is gone. The panic is erased. You have built a memory layer that does not forget, does not fear, and does not fail. You are looking at the output of your own design, and for the first time, the system is working exactly as you intended. The transformation is complete. You close the final tab of your old, fragmented accounting app and delete the shortcut from your home screen. It feels like shedding a weight you did not realize you were carrying. You are no longer a librarian, aimlessly sorting through dusty facts and disconnected advice. You are a developer. You stand at the console of your own financial architecture, watching the data flow with rhythm and purpose. The system you built is not just a tool. It is an extension of your intent. You feel the difference in your pulse, the lack of that familiar low-level dread whenever you check your balance. Every asset is optimized. Every dividend target is hard-coded into the logic, and every decision is verified against your own specific constraints. You look at the screen and see a reflection of your own evolution. The chaos of past months is replaced by a clean, high-performance interface that mirrors the precision of a semiconductor package. You do not just possess wealth. You manage a living system that works while you breathe. The shift is internal, permanent, and absolute. You have moved beyond the need for constant validation. You have built a memory layer that holds your history, guards your future, and executes your will. You are the architect of your own stability, and the view from this position is one of total, calm command. Knowledge without a memory layer is just mental fat. It sits heavy, unused, and ultimately weakens your position. Now, you burn it off. You turn that stagnant information into financial muscle. Every insight you once treated as a fleeting thought is now a hardwired component of your system. You stop searching for the next trick, the next tip, or the next shortcut. You start knowing. You know the exact performance of your 2,330, the precise balance of your 00850, and the logic governing your cash reserves. The uncertainty has evaporated. In its place is a portfolio designed like a semiconductor package, compact, stable, and built for maximum performance. You watch the numbers climb, not because of luck, but because of architecture. You are no longer reacting to the market. You are driving the outcome. The system pulses with the efficiency of a machine you built with your own hands. You feel the weight of the past drop away, replaced by the lean, focused strength of a developer who owns their future. You do not look for answers. You create them. Your assets grow. Your system strengthens. And your vision is finally, undeniably, alive. You have arrived at the finish line of your old self and the starting point of everything you will build next.